This conversation begins with a statement: don't disturb my rest. The title of this message is being pulled from a book that I'm writing. I'm pulling this insert, if you will, out of this book just for you and I for this particular conversation. Don't disturb my rest. Most of us are givers, and so we just naturally give. And if we're not careful, we'll give so much out that we won't save anything for ourselves. We'll exhaust ourselves. We will deplete ourselves, if you will, because people that you're giving to, they're takers, and they'll just keep taking. They'll keep pulling virtue from you. They are receivers now as well, but they will just keep receiving and not having anything to give in return to you. And so therefore you're exhausted, you're empty inside. And you begin to start to disturb your own rest. And you'll blame everybody around you. That's what you do. So what I want to do is take some time so that you can start disabling yourself, if you will. Yes. You can learn how to tell people no when it comes to giving so much out and getting so less in return. I want to teach you how to also enable yourself to say no to everyone around you. But I want you to also have a tool or tools in your toolbox to enable those individuals as well to go out and fish for themselves, and you stop feeding them fish. You teach them how to fish. That's what this message is going to be about. It's going to be about how we stop disturbing our own rest and how we stop allowing others to disturb our rest as well. Go with me to the book of Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. Genesis chapter 1, verse 31. And it reads like this: and God saw everything that he had made, and behold, it was very good. And the evening and the morning were the sixth day. Genesis chapter 2, verse 1 through 4. Stay with me. Verse 1 reads like this: thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day, God ended his work, which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. God steps out of his rest. And listen to me. God disturbed his own rest on your behalf. He disturbed his own rest by creating the universe, if you will, planting the stars in the sky so we can have light to see, and putting the moon up and hanging the sun and putting them in such a position that they rotate to reflect off one another to give us day and night. That's the God we serve. That's the God who loves you so much that he gives himself an assignment. And then we're told on the seventh day, he rested from all his work. Verse 3, and God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he had rested from all his work which God created and made. Let me make this very clear. God is not resting because he's exhausted, because he's tired. No. God's not trying to take a nappy. No, not God. What God is sharing with us is how important it is for you and I to rest. How it's important for us to rest in him, the creator of all creation. You see, God creates everything. I mean, we have no ability to create. We make from what he's already created is what we do. Because God wanted to make sure that everything was prepared for us so that we could just rest in him. Yes, that's how much he loves us. I go to prepare a place for you. Yes. Wow. In my Father's house, there are many mansions. So Jesus is preparing a place for us. I prepare a table before you in the presence of your enemies. You see, God is making sure that we're always resting. He's always doing on our behalf. Verse 4, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created, and the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens. Now, when we read the Bible and we read chapter 1, God tells us what he did. And then when we read the Bible even further in chapter 2, God tells us not only what he did, but how he did what he did, especially when it comes to the details of creating man and woman. I mean, God gives us the formula. He gives us the inside secret, if you will. He gives us the scoop. Because God is all about sharing what he's done with all of us. Because God don't want your rest to be disturbed. Because when your rest is disturbed, guess what? You don't reside in him. And it's hard for him to reside in you because you've disturbed something. You've disturbed this relationship. You brought a separation between the two of you. So it's important to rest. Let me read this again. Verse 3. And God blessed the seventh day. God gave a command for the seventh day. God says, remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. There that word is. God didn't make, watch this, he didn't make a place holy. In this particular verse, God made the day holy, the seventh day. Wow. So God is sharing with us how important it is for our bodies to rest. Because if not, we'll get what we call sleep deprivation. And you know when you get sleep deprivation, you start making bad decisions. Yes, your body starts breaking down, being unhealthy. And so God is saying, I want you to rest. I've given you 6 days to go out and work and do all the things you need to do. And I want you to serve me in those 6 days, don't get me wrong. But on the seventh day, Donnie, I want you to shut everything down, all your thoughts. I want you to turn off social media. I want you to turn off the TV. I want you to tune everything out. And I want you to just lay with me. Just sup with me so I'll sup with you. Abide in me so I will abide in you. Can't you feel God? Can't you feel the worship that he wants with us? That's what he's telling us. Yeah, this day is holy. Most of you don't know anything about that word. That's so foreign to you, holy. Your Bible's called the Holy Bible, but you don't say it, you just say the Bible. It's the Holy Bible. Yes, it's sanctified just for you and I. God is saying this is a holy day. Can't you just feel that? I mean, every time I say the word holy, the seventh day is a holy day. It's a day of consecration. It's a day that you spend with God. It's a day where you thank him. You share with him how grateful you are for blessing you, for creating you. It's like that prayer closet some of you have where you go into, you crawl into when you have these tough issues in life and you go before God. That's a holy place that you have. God made this day holy for all of us. Forget about a place. It's a day. He wants a whole day with you. Yes, he desires a whole day with you. I pray that you feel this. He wants to worship with you. That's what he's calling you for. I mean, have you ever just laid prostrate before God and just worshiped him for who he is? Just worshiped him for who he is in your life. Have you ever just laid before him? I mean, when we get in trouble, when our kids in trouble, oh, we'll run to him then. Oh, we're all out in a full sprint running to him, crying and pleading out to God. So no. I want this day, the seventh day. I want this day for you and I. I want you to bring all your joy to me. Yeah, I want you to worship me with your joy. All the good things that's happened to you this week. Don't bring me all that pain every time. Bring me the joy in your life. Let's just worship together. Let us just cry together. I mean, God said, let us bleed together. Yeah, bring all your brokenness to him. That's what he's asking for. And let me wash that stuff. Let me sift that stuff out of you. But I can't do it when you're being a busybody. I mean, why do you think God's going to chase you? Who are you? In the mix of everything, who are you really? Besides a servant, besides someone who should be humble and submissive before their deity. Yes, God is saying, you're running around here trying to find who's the real God. Is it Muhammad? Is it Buddha? Is it Hare Krishna? God is saying, what are you doing? You're disturbing yourself. You're disturbing your own rest. Your children are looking for a new religion, something that's greater than what their parents had. They're disturbing their rest. There is only one way. Jesus makes it very clear. I am the way, the truth, and the life. And God is saying, just come and rest in me. Come and reside in me. Stop disturbing yourself. Stop disturbing things around you. But if you're not careful, if you don't raise your children up the way God wants them to be raised up in holiness and as a worshiper, they will violate you as your own children. Yes. Your children will lean on you. They will exhaust you financially. They will exhaust you, yes, socially. They will exhaust you and violate you morally. If you're not careful, your kids will start cursing you, cussing you, okay? and not blessing you. You see, I want children that bless me. As I get older, I want my children to reward me by, watch this, by not needing me for anything. I want my children to pay me back by blessing me to have peace in my life. See, that's the only payment I want. I want them to go out there and enjoy their lives, but I want them to bless me, yes, for what I've done for them. I want them to bless me with peace. In the Garden of Eden, we realized that Eve allowed the voice of the serpent, allowed Satan, Lucifer, the devil, inside the serpent to disturb her rest, to disturb her peace in the garden. And that's what we are. We get so curious sometimes that we allow an outside voice to enter into the presence of the voice that we already have inside of us, the voice of God. And in this case with Eve, the voice of her own husband. So she was disobedient to the voice of her own husband. She was disobedient to the voice of God because she was curious. Well, we know curiosity killed the cat, right? We heard that statement. Eve was curious. And don't get me wrong. Satan is flirting with her. I mean, come on. Satan can route. Satan is showing her this tree, which, come on, she's seen this tree probably 1,000 times. But Satan is showing her this tree the way she's never seen this tree before. She's seen it, but she's never saw it. And see, there we go. She gave an opportunity. She gave Satan an audience. That's what she did. He peeked inside of her and he could see some lack. He could see something that was disturbed inside of her because she wasn't content. And that's where a lot of you are. You're not content where you are in God. You think God should have done more for you by now. You think you should have a lot more by now. And so you're complaining, you're griping to God. And Satan is listening and he's hearing it. And he's coming in trying to sow a seed of discord. And if you're not careful, you allow him to enter you, through his voice, through his flirtation. I mean, he's flirting with looking at that tree. Yeah, you're looking at that tree that you know you're not supposed to touch. Yeah, that tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You can have any tree in the garden, but there's one tree you cannot touch. And Satan knows it, so he's coming to you, and he's saying 36, 24, 36. That's what he's saying to you, man. He said, look at this tree. Women, he's coming to you saying tall, dark, and handsome. That's what he's doing. I'm telling you, he's painting a picture that you can't hold. You have to look at because it's just so beautiful. See, you've seen the tree, but you never saw the tree before. Now you're seeing the tree and you saw the tree and you're seeing how he's represented the tree until right now you're interested in touching the tree. You're interested in listening to someone else's voice over the voice of your creator. How far are you? How disturbed are you? See, you went too far and you stayed too long. That's what's happening. You're gazing at the tree. You weren't supposed to be gazing or gawking. You're supposed to be walking past it and leaving it alone. But you're gazing at that man. Yeah, you're gawking at that woman. And you got your hands, watch this, you almost got your hands on it. Because the voice inside of you, that enemy, that voice that you've allowed to get inside of you is bigger than your husband's voice. It's bigger than your wife's voice. It's bigger than your God's voice. Watch this, watch this. That voice is so big, it's bigger than your voice now. You've allowed this enemy to infiltrate you to where his voice sounds better than your voice. It sounds bigger and louder than your voice. That's what Eve did. And so Adam and Eve, watch this, disturbed God's rest. They both partook. They both were disobedient. So they disturbed God's rest. So God comes out of heaven. His voice is walking through the garden. Adam, where art thou? God knows where Adam is. He's asking Adam, do you know where you are? And of course, Adam didn't. Because he's disturbed his own rest. And that's what we do. Yes. We get in trouble and we run to God. Donnie, where art thou? Well, I hid myself. You hid yourself. Yeah, because I was naked. Yes, because now, see, I know the difference between, I have the knowledge of good and evil. What you really have is you have the knowledge now of rest and unrest. You've disturbed your rest, so you know the difference now between rest and disturbance in your rest. Wow. Be ye holy because I am holy. If you rest in holiness, if you rest in worship, just think about how powerful that is. King David was a king who fought for God, fought off all God's enemies. And God told King David, I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless you. I'm going to bless your son through you. And all this fighting you've had to do, I'm going to make sure that your son, Solomon, will be the son of peace. I'm going to give you a son that rewards you for all the things you've done for me, David. And his name's Solomon. Solomon shall be the son of peace. Do you have peace in your family with your sons and daughters? Have you poured peace in them? Let me tell you how you get that, because you need this. It's through worship. It's through making your house a house of holiness. Yes. Having a house of precious peace. It begets peace because you're peaceful, because your tone is peaceful in your house. Yes, see, you got to be careful. It's one thing to have this atmosphere, a beauty atmosphere of just simply joy in your house. It's another thing to have an atmosphere of hostility in your house. Most of you have an atmosphere of hostility. And so you're birthing hostility, you're birthing disturbance in your house. Don't you want a house of peace? Everybody wants peace, I know. Well, then be still and know that God is God. Bring worship, usher worship into your house. Yes. I mean, have you ever fasted before and you just kind of stayed to yourself? See, that's worship. Yeah, that's intimacy with God. That's you stealing away some time for you and God to have. Do you steal away any time for you and God to have? Have you demonstrated that before your children? Or is everyone getting up and turning on the TV and social media and the radio and cell phones and everything is just blasting at all out volumes? And so how does God enter that place, that space, when no one's listening? When everyone's inside of their own heads, in their own rooms, if you will. That's what's happening. Every door is closed and everyone is individualized. So how does holiness come into that place? How does worship begets in that place? How is peace going to enter when there is no peace? Because everything is on a 10. God wants to tabernacle with you. He wants to bring peace into your life. Solomon being called the son of peace just does something to me. I want that for my daughter. I want that for my sons, for my daughters and my sons. Yes. I want that for you and for your children as well. You're teaching your children how to keep all this hell out of their life, all this disturbance out of their life, because you've had it in yours. And so you're teaching them how to not have debt, because you've been through all the credit card issues and you realize that debt brings unrest. It brings distress. Yes, it brings depression. Debt will wipe you out mentally and physically. I mean, some people have committed suicide because they had so much debt. They had so much unrest. Their rest was so disturbed. And so your children don't get it. You're trying to teach them why you don't want them to have debt, why you don't want them to be tied to this system, this world system of buying and buying all these things, these items, and don't have enough money to pay for it. You're teaching them. You've been teaching them. I know. You've been teaching them, and they're just not listening. You're teaching them you can't afford that mortgage. No. So go rent and save and invest your money for a season. I know you're teaching them, but guess what? They don't want to listen. So they go disturb their rest. You're teaching them, don't buy that automobile. No. You don't need that loan. Go get you a cash car for now and just ride in that hoopty for a moment so you can just sort of save and you can invest. And they're not listening. I feel your pain. You're teaching them, yes, you're teaching them some good stuff, but they're just not listening because guess what? Because everyone has to find this out for themselves. No matter how much advice you give them, it's hard when you didn't raise them up in worship. You see, what they're doing is they're tied to a world now, a system that they're worshiping. Like Adam and Eve was worshiping that tree, like you've been worshiping that man, you've been worshiping that woman. Adam and Eve, think about this. They were worshiping a tree versus the God who created them and who created that tree. See, that's how crazy things can get when you don't have a life full of holiness. You start worshiping stuff versus worshiping the God who gave you all that stuff. So whose rest is really being disturbed? It's yours. I'm telling you, your children, don't get me wrong, your precious little children who you know should be listening to you, should be obeying your voice, who should be paying attention, they're going out buying all these designer clothes. And you're telling them, no, stop buying all that name brand stuff. Just buy some of the off-brand stuff until you can make it and stop faking it. But they don't mind buying it because they feel that it disturbs their rest when they can't be with their friends, when they can't work with their friends at work. That's disturbing their rest. Wow. They don't see the bills piling up. Well, they do see them. They're just simply ignoring them for now. But all that stress is going to disturb their rest for a long time. You've been there, you've done that. Yes, you've got the t-shirt. And so they can't relate to you when you're trying to teach them not to disturb their rest. So guess what? They start disturbing your rest because they didn't listen. Now, guess what? Now they're in lack. Now they need you. And all the things that you saved up, yes, all the things that you put away for your rest in your later season in life, no. They're trying to disturb your rest. And that's why it's so important to make sure you raise them the right way, to make sure to make sure you bring them up in holiness, to make sure you bring them up as worshipers themselves. If your whole house is worshiping, wow, that's hard to move off of that point. I'm telling you, if you bring that kind of worship into your house, you bring that kind of peace into your house, it's hard for your children to move off of that point. It's hard for a worshiper to go out and get pregnant. It's hard for a worship to go out and get arrested. It's hard for a worship to go out and drop out of school. I'm telling you, it's hard for a worship to go and become an addict. Yes, to drugs and alcohol and to porn. So as we go forward, look at it from this perspective. Everything that's disturbing your rest is because you worship it. You heard what I said. Everything that's disturbing your rest is because you give it more time than you give God. Just evaluate it. Don't take my word, take your word. Just evaluate it. Everything that's messing with you, your pain, your bank account, your mortgage, yes, your children, your husband, yeah, your wife, yes, your friends, your siblings, your parents, everything that's disturbing your rest is because you worship it more than you worship God. And so you're doing it to yourself. I keep saying this, it's an inside job. Satan has pulled the wool over your eye. Yes, he's got it covered. He's got it covered with his voice. And so everything around you, yes, you think it sounds like you, but it's not you. It's the worship you have of it and for it. It's not holy. No. It's not holy. You think it's, oh, holy moly. No. It's not holy. Everything, I'm telling you, everything that has you with an unrest and unease, have you stressed, is because you worship it and you're not worshiping God. That's everything around you. I don't care who it is or what it is. The more you worship it, the deeper you go into unrest. The deeper you go into, watch this, unbelief. The deeper you go into doubt. The deeper you go into something disturbing your rest. And all you have to do is back up out of it. All you have to do is start worshiping God. The more you worship God, the more peace comes in your life. Try it out. Don't take my word for it. Yeah, lay before him after this message. Lay before God. Have God to bring peace into your life, into your family's life, into your situation. Some things we can't get out of, but we can have peace within it. Let me say it again. Some things will take some time. But while it's taking time, let me have peace in it. Let me work through it with peace, with dignity, with respect, with integrity. Yes, see, because worship will keep you from going deeper in as it brings you out. Some of you who don't worship, oh, you're going deeper in. Oh, you're taking a deep dive. Oh, you're going down. It's just a matter of time. But for those of you who have a worshiping spirit, hold on to it. Yes, God's going to pull you out in due season. But just stay close to him. Yeah, stay focused on the task at hand. Just look around you. Everything around you is around you for a purpose. And most of it's around you to disturb your rest. When you look at your house, look at all the liquor you have in your house. And I'm not against alcohol. I'm against abuse of alcohol. Look at all the drugs that you have around your house. And I'm not talking about illegal, even though I'm talking about illegal, but I'm talking more about prescribed medication. All that stuff is around you to disturb your rest. Everything around you, people. Look at people, how they talk about their pain, how they talk about their brokenness. All day long, that's all they talk about around you. They're pouring into you all of their bitterness, all of their brokenness, all of their depression, all their suicidal thoughts. That's what people are doing because they're trying to disturb your rest. The enemy will use whoever he can use to disturb your rest, to disturb your peace. You see, some of you got some peace in your life, and the enemy hates you. And some of you trying to get some peace in your life, and he hates you as well. He wants your rest disturbed for a lifetime. Because the more he can disturb your rest, the more he thinks he has an opportunity to get in. Yeah. The more he can have you worshiping that tree, worshiping your drugs, and worshiping your alcohol, and worshiping each other, worshiping sex, and the more he can distract you from worshiping God, from having a relationship with God, from living in holiness, the more he's going to keep people around you who are trying to pull on you. Yeah. Who are trying to push you out of your peace. And that's why it's so important to have a life full of worship. I'm telling you, learn how to worship. I don't know how to say it any clearer, any plainer than what I'm saying it. If you want some peace in your life, if you want some peace in your home, become a worshiper. Yeah, put your whole house on a worshiper fast, if you will, on a worshiping fast. Yes, put your whole house on a 3-hour worshiping fast. Just do 3 hours. Just watch the breaking in the atmosphere. Just do 3 hours. No TV, no social media for 3 hours. Yeah, you and your wife, your children, teach them how to just worship for 3 hours, and watch what comes in, and watch what leaves out. Jesus, that's just worth this message all by itself. It's to put your house, your life on a worshiping fast. I didn't say for 3 days. I said for 3 hours. Oh, please, that's going to be challenging enough. For 3 hours. Start off there. Oh, I love you do 3 days. Oh, there'll be a breaking in your whole family. But just for 3 hours, you and yours. Yeah, worship holiness in. Put on some worship music. As a matter of fact, write me. I'll send you the music you need to listen to. But you need to find some peace. Because I'm telling you, it will make you go bald-headed if you don't find some peace. It'll make you pull your hair out. I'm serious. Some people have committed suicide. Some people have taken their life because they couldn't find any rest. And that's why it's important, as you're creating the image of God. If he rested, wow, shouldn't you rest as well? Yeah, rest from all the cares of the world. Rest. And the way to rest is to sanctify your place and to get yourself into a place and just worship him as much as you can. Worship him. Yeah, have praise bell ringing in your heart. Yes, have a melody of prayer singing in your spirit. Worship him. That's all he's asking for, is on the seventh day, make it holy. Yes. Tabernacle with him. Let him know how important he is to you and how important you are to him. Yes, let God know. Hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm doing what you've asked me to do. Lord, use me any way you can. I just pray you get this. I pray you realize, yes, worship him. Don't worship yourself. I want my children to grow up respecting, not to disturb God's rest. Because, listen to me, it's a price to pay when you disturb God's rest. Ask Lucifer. Lucifer tried to overthrow heaven and took a third of the angels with him, and God kicked him out of heaven because he disturbed God's rest. Adam and Eve disturbed God's rest, and he kicked him out of the Garden of Eden. Pharaoh disturbed God's rest, and God hardened his heart. And then he drowned all of Pharaoh's men and chariots and horses in the Red Sea. Israel disturbed God's rest when they kept idolizing all of those gods that they had in Egypt and started worshiping those gods that Egypt worshiped and started building a golden calf. God disturbed their rest by making them wander in the wilderness for 40 years. You see, it's a price to pay for you and I, for our children to disturb God's rest. But your children, I'm telling you, I'm trying to teach you something. I told you I want to give you some tools for your toolbox. Your children need to be told no. You need to have a plan for them. Tell them exactly when you're going to cut them off to where they can fly by themselves. Bless them with everything that's inside of you. But I'm telling you, if you raise them up in a household full of worship and praise, I'm telling you, I'm not talking about that fake stuff, okay, where you go to church on Sundays. I'm not talking about that stuff. No. I'm talking about being fully represented in the kingdom of God. When your children can see mom and dad worshiping and that worship gets inside of them, because the house, the whole house, I mean, come on, everything about you is peaceful. Yes. I'm not talking about having a great personality. Have a great personality. Yes. Be witty about yourself. I mean, have fun. And that's our problem. We fake too much. We try to pretend too much. No, enjoy worshiping. Enjoy praising God. Enjoy living your life full of worship. Yes. Be sanctified. Be holy. I can't get off of this because it's so important. Don't disturb my rest. If you don't want your rest disturbed, because believe me, it's going to happen from your children, from your grandchildren, from your siblings. Everyone around you is going to pull on you. Everyone. Because you've enabled them over the years. And so all they know is he's a giver. Oh, he will keep giving. No, 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 no. I'm gonna draw a line in the sand that I'm gonna stop. Yes, I'm gonna stop enabling you guys. I'm going to disable some things. I'm going to cut some things off. Because it's time. Yes. I've given you a fish long enough. Now I'm going to teach you how to fish so you can fish for yourself. You see, you're responsible. You're part of why your children are not worshipers. You're part of why they're not praisers, why they're not holy, if you will. It's because of you, because they watch you, they idolize you. And you're the closest thing to God that they know in their household. And so when you're not pulling your weight, guess what? They start pulling their weight. You need to become a prayer warrior for your children to see. Yes. You need to stop self-sabotaging your future and theirs. Prayer works. Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, all prayed. All were barren women, and they prayed, and God blessed them. Your children need to understand that God is in the blessing business. Yes. And there is a rest. Watch this. There is a rest in the kingdom of God that's priceless. You need to understand. That's what they're shooting for. Yeah. We see them going out purchasing cars and houses and clothes and cologne and jewelry. That's not the goal. The goal is to enter, yes, their rest in Jesus Christ. That's the goal. Don't forget Romans 10:9. Confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead. And guess what? You too shall be saved. Now, that's the rest that we all need to reside in. That's the rest we all should be aiming for. Don't violate your rest in God. Don't be like Adam and Eve. Yes, worshiping a tree. Don't be like Pharaoh. Don't allow anyone to harden your heart, looking for religions all over this world. No, no, no. The real thing is right here. It's Jesus Christ. The real thing. It's not Coca-Cola. It's Jesus, the Christ. I pray you have a blessed week. And remember, don't let anyone disturb your rest, not even you. You be blessed.